Oh, we'll probably be starting our freaking wrestling that sun thing here soon. What is it? 544. And have the door open so we can listen to the real nature sounds. This morning, it is a weird morning already. It is a weird night. It was a weird morning. Like everything just gets weirder. I swear to God. If anything gets less weird, I'll be surprised. It just gets weirder and weirder. And I don't know. So I've been like awake for a long ass fucking time, but I kept trying to go back to sleep. I don't know. It's just strange. It's just strange. I don't know. Sometimes it's like the energy or something. But so, like some of these birds too. Could you hear that one? It's like, where are these tropical birds coming from? Like, it's weird. It's like I'm in the forest. So these birds, and I started noticing that it was a couple of years ago, it would just be this weird, random, like tropical bird sound. And I kept thinking, well, this must be like part of the pole shift because we're supposed to go into like where it has been cold, it's going to be warm. But now, hearing about all of this, like winter's made up anyways, like they created winter, which I don't fucking know. I mean, we got damn ice ages. Like, I don't know. This place is so weird. I just saw Tim Ballard, going out, like, doing a video trying to get people, that he's being attacked. They're saying all this negative stuff about him. And so, fuck, I don't know. Like, they are good at being able to destroy people. I mean, that is the whole thing what Trump was supposed to be showing us. Like, you just can't get too caught up. Like, it's all an illusion. You can't get too caught up in he's bad, he's good, he's good. Like, you can, put your coins in on the bets or whatever, but just don't go all in. Just be like, anything's possible. Like, I mean, they could have created the records of the whole Arkansas. I mean, there's a lot of weird shit with that fella. Like, I don't know. A lot of weird shit with all these people. Like, I just don't even know. Like Ashton now, there's just way too many. It's just like, this is like everything's up and we're just going to have to see where it falls, how it goes down. And this is like hard, I swear to God. Like I have already been crying this morning. It was, this is fucking just hard, man. This energy is, goddamn. I can totally see why my mom is just like, I don't want to know about it. I don't want to hear about it. It's like, I was telling her, Mom, you're going to have to. It's part of the whole thing. It's like how we heal. It's like we have to hear. You got to hear what you were eating at McDonald's. You got to hear what they were doing. Like, it's part of it. The corruption and the fucking shit, man, is we just blindly sat back and didn't protect our planet, It's going to make me cry again. I'm having an emotional day. Oh, my fuck. The one that got me this morning where I was bawling is fuck. I don't know. These rich people, like, they go and try and catch wild horses. Like, why? Why? Like, motherfucking poachers. My cousin, like, when we were young, he went to Alaska, and he's a farm boy. Like, full-on farm boy. Like, no, grew up in he grew up in Kansas. We moved to the big city. My dad was going to go make it in the world. But, like a Nebraska-born farm boy, though. Like, big old farm boy. And it's just a different way. Just like it's different from an island boy to a city boy. It's a different mentality. It's a different philosophy. And, and a lot of farmers are hunters. And so when he went to Alaska, it seems that he got, like once my dad became like a wheeler dealer, starting his own businesses and stuff, he made a lot of connections. He was like connected with a lot of rich people. That's why I said I was like around a lot of rich people when I was younger. And I didn't see him as being like, oh yeah, money, that's the thing. That's a good thing. I just saw him all as just being crooked. And so anyways, I didn't give the same respect to money as a lot of people thought. Like, oh, money, that's what I want. I just thought, God, money, and it really stood out to me. A rich man getting into heaven is like a camel trying to fit through the eye of a needle. Like that was what always stuck out to me. But, I had strong guidance talking to me the whole time about shit like that. So, people who did desire it and didn't have opportunities to see it in other lights, then, no judgment. Everybody's on their own thing. But he went to Alaska, and I think, and up there would be a lot of good hunters. But I don't know, he started doing hunting. I think my dad had got him like a pipeline job or something. Back then, like in the 70s or 80s, like there was a ton of guys that would go there, like lots of men. Like Alaska became like tons of men who went there to work. And they could go and just work and make a shit ton of money. So he went and he started doing something. I guess I only found out about it later because he got kicked out of Alaska. He's not allowed back there because he was poaching. He was taking people to hunt or something in places you couldn't or something. I'm not sure all of the details. But I just remember it being like, I was young. I was in my early 20s and he got in trouble for poaching. It could have been my late 20s. I don't know. It was a long ass time ago. And man, that is so crazy when you think about different, people, different cousins and stuff. Like, and you see life on a soul thing, and you see like different things playing out in people's lives, like their orbit, like you can see shit playing out. But, it was just like one tragedy after another in that family, like it has been for a long ass time. I don't know if there's very many people left. I think out of that family unit, I think there may be only one person left. Maybe him. Him. Oh man, and he went through it. Fuck. One thing after another. And then his brother. So maybe two. But it's just like everybody in that family was just tragic. It was the one where my cousin, it was his, they were like close in age, so kind of like twin kind of siblings. And she was the one who got killed. She on the bike when we were teenagers. Oh, I was 19. No, I was 20. She was 19. So he was like 20. And she was out riding a bike and got killed. I've told that story. It really affected me on the bike riding and stuff, like, safety and being aware of shit, because people are just not. And when things happen, though, it makes you aware, things that people don't think about. You're more aware. You see somebody on the road or you see someone swerve or whatever, you're paying a lot more attention. So anyways, it's just weird, like his regular folk. I mean, he could have probably went to prison for a long time. And I think he did get fined a lot of money because that's what they're always after. I couldn't even believe how many cops were out on this last trip I did, especially because I have that ticket I haven't paid. And so, when I was a teenager, I did that all the time. And I had warrants out for my arrest all the fucking time. I got arrested all the time when I was a teenager. And I get in trouble all the time by my dad. He'd be so pissed because I'd go get these tickets and then I wouldn't pay him. And then when it goes to warrant, it's like goes up to like $1,000. I mean, back then, so you'd have a ticket was like $20, and then all of a sudden it'd be like $1,500. He'd get so pissed off at me. But I was irresponsible and I didn't give a fuck what my parents thought. So, but because of the fine, like I have this going on, so I have to be so careful while I'm driving. And it was like what are those things called, radar, the trap things. It was like every I don't know, every hour at least. Some of them was like every 15 minutes. There was so many. I was just like, what in the hell? Like, fucking go. There's shit to do in Seattle. Once you guys all go fucking deal with the shit you gotta deal with. You got homeless fucking shit. You got crime shit. You got all sorts of shit y'all need to deal with. But you're just gonna sit out here on the road writing tickets for nonsense so that they can get this money. It's the only way that they can get. They're not gonna get shit from fucking going and dealing with the homeless and the crimes and shit. They get money off of writing us expensive ass tickets and us scrambling to pay them. We all got to stop and all got to say, fuck you and your goddamn tickets. We're not paying shit. We all got to come together on this stuff. I'm going to take my stand and hide as I drive by. But, anyways, it's just the nonsense behind their shit. But then you're rich. You're a rich motherfucker who has helicopters. You can poach all you fucking want. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I guess you can go fucking kill goddamn lions that are fucking old as shit that are tamed in towns and shit. Like, these people are, that was something that got me even on the Trump shit. Like, where they started turning, because a long time ago I liked him when he was on The Apprentice and stuff. I thought he was funny. And then they started talking all this shit about him. It's probably when they knew he was going to be running or something. And they started talking all this shit on him. And then I just remember them posting pictures of his kids with the big game and stuff. And I'm just like, no. Just killing things. Taking a life. It's not cool, man. It's not an energy I want to deal with. It's not energy I want to be a part of. So I think, oh my gosh, the hardest part I think of this morning thing is this nausea and then this burping is like, it is insane. And some of it is like way deeper, like it's painful. There's got to be something with the acid or something. And I just want to start seeing myself on a beach in Costa Rica. I just want to go live on a beach in Costa Rica. Me and Stella just walk around, sleep on the beach. I don't give a fuck. And have fresh fucking food. It's like this goddamn fucking food is all fucking poison. So, anyways, these motherfuckers, if you have a helicopter, you can go and fly around and kill things. So, I don't remember these people's names. The guy who was doing the video was saying, go look up the name, call your senators and all this stuff. Because these people have their own money. They write their own rules. They do what they want. And then they just pay someone off. It is so corrupt. And these wild horses, I don't understand. Why do you need to go and catch these wild horses? The guy said some of them, they fucking put them in slaughter. I guess they just sell them and stuff. Like they try and break them. It's like, why? And then where it really got me crying was because they're trying to capture them and they're killing them. And one of them that they killed was, the guy was like, this is on the film. You can watch this because it's all being filmed while they're doing this. And they're putting up these traps or something to block the horses. And the horses are wild, they're running. And there's babies with them. Like some of the moms just had babies. And so, God, this is sickening. I can see it in my fucking head. I don't even fucking want to see this shit. So the babies are running with the moms. And, God, is that my wheezing? Then this beautiful Palomino horse runs and hits into one of these bars and breaks its neck, has this horrific, long, drawn-out death scene of it, and its week-old baby is right there, and the people just ignore that and just grab the baby, and so they're just, man, it is sick. And they killed they killed a stallion the other day when they were doing it and they're injuring these horses and stuff. I was just like, what in the holy hell? This is such a fucking bullshit. God damn. Like, this is the kind of shit, like, you know, we don't even know about. And it just goes on. I cannot wait for these people to go down. These hateful fucking people that just don't care about anything about money. Like, what the hell is money? They think it gives you power. And it's like, but why do you want power? Who do you want to be powerful over? That right there, that's out of balance. That's out of harmony. That's not what life is about. It is not about being the powerful over another. And I just saw Candace Owens did a whole thing. I don't know if this is just a clip someone had shared of it about slavery and about like the history of it. And, you know, we've all taken our turns. It's not ever just been this one group and they've always been the ones. No, it's all, everybody, you know, the lightest folks have been enslaved by, you know, back in the day, it was like the Turkish and, you know, the Middle Eastern people, you know. It has just gone on and on and on to the point where she said even the philosophers back in the day just said it's just a part of how humans interact or something. Like the stronger just go over and, you know, dominate the weaker. And that is, that's not the energy of where we're headed. Like that's the energy of we're letting go of. And, you know, that is an energy that is this needing to dominate, this needing to be over somebody else, to have power. And what this dollar has brought up in people with the greed, like the darkness is inside of people. Like it gives you this idea that there's just all of these really evil people. But everybody has both inside of them. They're just so out of balance. They're so... And the weird thing is how like that kind of greed and that need to have that power comes from an insecurity. Like if you wouldn't feel you needed to be over anybody if you felt secure, if you felt good about yourself, if you didn't feel scared. Like it comes from fear. Fear just is the feeding of the beast or something. You know, it is the beast. You know, where people talk about the beast and the mark of the beast, all this stuff, is that the beast is fear. The mark is giving it attention, you know, giving it your energy, because it is its own, it's like the dark energy that I talk about, but it is like, it's way bigger. It is, you know, it's like it's become its own island of energy. You know, fear is so huge. There's plentiful. There's more than enough to go around. It is something that is like the more people needed it, or the more it was created, the more came. That's why I say, like, it is about energy and how important it is to direct towards the energy you want. Because, you know, I mean, you're creating energy that you don't want. And it makes it like quicksand to try and pull yourself out of it. Like, I think a lot of people are probably really, really struggling right now to pull themselves out of the funk that they find themselves in. I just saw this footage, and it's going to be more and more chaos. Like, it's not going to stop. Somebody had footage there on the highway, and there's a big old truck on the other side, and for like 2 miles it was shooting flames out. So, and here yesterday we had some warning. It was windy. I don't know if you can ever believe what they say, but it was something about it was cold and hot, of course. Then we had this wind, and that would be like we could have fires. We gotta be careful, and we're in a red zone alert or something. Now it's totally calm, but there also keeps being these really weird, like humid, like super, super humid and hot all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden this really strong smell of rain. And yesterday there was some weird stuff with the sky. But I think I've seen some of their footage of really weird stuff in the sky. Like this sky stuff is getting just weirder and weirder. Like something's got to go down. Like I just don't get how. Like I can't believe it is Tuesday and it is. I guess like the banks haven't closed or whatever, but who knows? Like 'cause some of them could be, and then the videos I'm seeing are strange. It's like they're definitely messing with it. Like I know because even on my own, where I'm so censored, and then I said something, and then all the people who come in the comments, and there's some people who are only getting 30 views. Like, I've got some videos where it gets like 15, 10, 2, but most of the videos, they let it get like between 250 and 270. If it gets any above that, like right now I have one that's like 317, but I have so many that would be viral. Like I know, like, I mean, how fast too that they get their views. Like if it kept going, it would be you can just tell like, once you see how it works. So that is, I think they're just trying to silence some voices, and they're all different voices. Because I've had somebody in the comments say their whole platform is religious, and they're being completely shut down. So it is, to me, it's more about giving people hope, giving them something else to think about besides all of the trauma that they're trying to create, is what they're trying to shut down. And then to those of us who do have hope, who are out there trying to, get everybody else on board, that they want us to lose hope, to just feel so bad that we all just give up. That's what they want, is just a world of surrender. Because they are just so they're so anxious. They just are so into the control. And it's all, all this greed, and it has so much to do with just, hate amongst others and control, and that's why with, those of us who've got to catch ourselves to be like, to recognize, we don't want to go into that darkness. We got to give everyone their own space to grow, to see what they're going to see when they're going to see it, not judge their experience. Just like, I mean, there's people having some really dark experiences right now. And then they want us to, go on to the good or bad. Oh, that person's all bad. Oh, that person's good. Oh, they want us to get in there and just stay in that energy. And that is something that you got to just start witnessing and releasing. I mean, like, to me, it is just recognizing that it's like you're playing parts and you're learning. Like even that guy in that show, the new Hulu one, The Worst Husband in the World or something. I can't remember what it's called. But it's the one of the, it's so crazy too, because they were college sweethearts. And then she broke up because she wanted to, not just be with her first boyfriend. She wanted to go out and experience some. So it was 20 years later that they got back together after they had gone through so much different stuff. And so you'd think he'd be all like, feel so fortunate, but he was cheating from the beginning, the whole time. And nonsense cheating, just like anybody, anywhere, anytime. And he was so into the pursuing, and he's very good looking, like a very, very good looking guy. And like I said, that is a part of that. It's like a template to come and see, like, is the same thing. Like if you have a lot of money, if you have a lot of power, if you have a lot, what do you do with it? And so, some of these people who have extremely good looks, then it is, what do you do with them? When you have people who want to be around you just from how you look, or want to, what do you do? Do you use people? Do you have compassion? Do you care? And there's a lot of women who are doing that like template too. Like it's not just men, but there's people out there who are learning. It isn't just because they're there to screw people over. They're there to to see what drives a person to be who they are. And then there's always these repercussions and consequences. Like, it's so, I'm telling you, it's so huge, because it isn't just one thing. Because even that guy in that show who's playing this dark role, like yesterday too, I watched this movie. I really did try and rest a lot yesterday. My arm, I think the soft tissue injury is like worse. My cut is literally almost gone. It is freaky, because as it heals, it's like completely disappearing. It's weird. And there's only like a little tiny bit of it left. It's trippy. Like, when I've gotten stitches out, like I think tomorrow would be when I would be going to get the stitches out, or the next day. And it's almost entirely healed. And then when they take them out, you always have this like red line, and you have all these dots where all the stitches were and stuff. And then that's all got to heal. This is going to be completely gone before I've even gotten the stitches out. So crazy. So cut's way easier to heal than this thing. Like, my arm is just, man, I can't believe how much it's hurting. So anyways, I was trying to, really lay around and stuff. And another show I saw was, or I have two. One of them, I was watching The Staircase. And I think I was calling that girl Candy Camacho. That's a realtor out here. I see the signs, Candy Camacho. So I don't remember if that's what I called her, but Candy the Axe Murderer. That is a true story one. And there's a bunch of different documentary, docuseries, all stuff on that too. But this one is another one that there's a bunch on. And it's the guy about the stairs. And this is the one I'm watching right now. It's got Toni Collette. And I think the guy is, I can't think of his name. But it's weird how much he looks like this other guy. But there's things in the show, because it's on Max. There's things in the show where it's like, okay, you don't have to go this extreme into showing the sex. Like, really. And, but they sensationalize stuff, But in that one, in the other ones, I keep trying to think, did I ever see this owl theory before? Or is this new? Because I really, through all of the other ones, I really thought the guy did it. And then when I'm watching this one, it's like, oh my gosh. So he really didn't do it? He really has been in jail? It really was an owl attack? Like, I don't know. I still got further to go. But that one's like kind of draining emotionally or something. There's like a lot of sadness. There's a lot in that fucking family. So many families have so much weird shit. And it comes to the surface, and it's like, ugh. Oh yeah, the other one I was watching was this, another true story of this Australian family. And they were really rich. And the son, I guess, killed the parents. But there's another one where it's like, did something else happen? Like, I mean, he says he did, but is he trying to cover something else up? I don't know. It's weird. And his was, when he did it, he said he felt free for the first time. And, I think his parents were really rich, and I guess they used it, hung it over them. Well, the dad had dementia. And, so, but, that is also soul stuff. That is deep stuff. That isn't just about this life. And in the one, like the guy who was cheating on the girl, and this super handsome man who just is like out for the pursuing. He's like, he's a predator, How far can these looks get me? How many girls can I bang? And who knows? Maybe he was banging in anybody he could just for the thrill of it. Like the guy in the stairs. Like, he was a deviant. Because even if you are bisexual, if you're in a relationship, unless, I guess, if you're just in an open relationship, but that is like up in the air, because nobody, for sure knows. But no matter what, if you're in a relationship, even if you're bisexual, you're still committed to one person. Like these people who think like, well, if I'm having sex with the same gender, then it's okay. You're still cheating on the person. You're still going outside of your marriage or relationship to become intimate with somebody else. Like I don't know. People just come up with their own rules. Like, and then even if somebody, is manipulative and gets somebody to agree, like, well, you're in a relationship with me and I'm bisexual and I've got my needs. I've got to get out there and, sow my oats. And they convince you, if you're going against what you feel on the inside, you're going to feel like shit all the time. You're going to feel cheated on because you're being cheated on. That's gaslighting you into doing what they want you to do. You don't have to go with what somebody else tells you. You have to listen to yourself, or you're going to end up feeling bad. And to the point of, how much you can deal with your own trauma brings up a lot of anger. Some people, they feel better if they just kill you. I'm like, just got to kill them. It's the only way I can feel better. I get them off of this planet, and then I'll feel better. It's like, I am really wheezy. What was I going to say? I saw the fucking, there's so much spraying. My joints have been killing me. Stella's been whining. Like, they're probably fucking just goddamn nonstop goddamn poisoning us. So fucking sick of this shit. Yeah, yesterday I went to go get water. And it was kind of weird because, even if somebody comes and pulls up, normally it's, some old guy or, not good looking guy. And so I was standing up at the water thing, which I was standing there going, okay, this is weird as fuck. Because somebody's obviously coming up and decorating the water thing and trying to make it real fun and cute. So somebody's been messing with it already. But then it seemed like the whole shape of it had changed. Like somebody had come in and cut the pipe, and the pipe's way back over here now. So I was like tripping out already. And then, and it's on the side of this like little highway thing. And so a car pulls up behind me. So I didn't see them. And they pulled up behind me. And normally when you're there, everybody just stays in their car. If a car is there, they're filling up their stuff. And once they move, we just like move up. So it was like, I don't know, rules to the water thing, the watering hole. And, I know I don't know, especially like as I live in a place where 5 feet, get back. It's like, the circle is there. These progressive people are funny. So the germs, they're so smart. They can only go this far. If I fucking sneeze hard enough, I can get you fucking 10 feet up there. I'll tell you right now. So mental people. It's like, well, it only can go that far. Anyway, so this guy comes walking around my car. Very good-looking guy, which is unusual anyways out here. This really good-looking guy comes walking up with this one little water bottle and goes, oh, I didn't know you were here. I was like, well, my car's right there. Like, not very many people pull up and park and then just take off. Like, that would be strange. Like, it was very Ted Bundy-ish of you. Like, I don't sit there and look at some guy who's good looking and think like, I think Ted Bundy was good looking. Like, what the fuck do you want, dude? Scoot back. Get on him, get on back. So it was kind of weird because it kind of reminds me of this time when I was on the highway when my car broke in LA, when I was driving back from LA to Orange County. I think I was driving to whatever it was. It was very scary. When I broke down and I had to go on the inside lane, and it was in a part where it was like a whole bunch of, it was like the 110 crosses the 405 and all this shit. And so it was, I pulled into that one, and I got followed and shit, like on that drive. And this guy, a young guy, pulls in right behind me and starts trying to get me to get in his car. And I wouldn't get in his car, and he's arguing with me, and a cop pulls in right behind him, and the guy jumps in his car and takes off. And that always seemed just really weird, just like Elvis seemed really weird. And it could have been completely innocent, but it's just weird. Like, dude, have you never been to the watering hole? Like, what the hell are you doing? You don't just walk up like this. And so when he walked up and he saw me, and I looked at him and just kind of like smiled, then another guy drove by, which is so strange, in a Jeep. When I keep having this weird thing about Jeeps, and I don't know why, but so he comes up and he looks over at me, and I was thinking, well, that's a good looking guy too. What the hell's going on all of a sudden? There's good looking guys everywhere. And so he looks at me, and I look at him and I think, okay, this is weird. And then I start doing my water, and then I see that guy, the first one who walked up, get in his car and drive off, which reminded me of the car thing. Is then the other guy pulls in behind. He gets his watering jug and walks up to me then too. And I was just like, okay, this is really weird. And I don't care if you're good looking, you could be Ted Bundy. Like two good looking guys, like you could be a team. I don't know. The Hillside Strangler worked like that. Like, watch yourself. And so he, so I just start talking about, like, isn't it weird? Like, isn't this weird? Like somebody's done something, like they're changing something up here. And he goes, well, I think the water was going slower. And I said, was like, did they cut the pipe or something? Like, what? It's moved back. And he was like, well, I just started coming here. Have you been coming here for a while? Yeah, I've been coming here a long while. And he's like, oh, well, I just started coming here. Anyways, he kept standing there awkwardly, and, so I just started talking. So I was like, okay, well, if you haven't been here a lot, maybe you just don't know the rules. Like, normally we all sit back in our car and wait for the other person to move out of the way, and then we come up with our water jugs. We don't just all pile up here together. And so I just started talking to him about water and stuff, but it's funny because as soon as I start talking conspiracy, like this guy was like, said something about, sometimes you gotta say something or something. I said, I've been saying it for 3 fucking years. Like, I'm not stopping saying it. Like, I'm gonna tell everybody. Like, everybody needs to fucking see. And so I had a few things, that I said to him that I think, those are when your paths cross, like this energy output. And he was kind of more open to it, And what was it? He said, well, all I need is my beer and my marijuana or something like that. And I said, all I need is my weed. I don't give a fuck. And he said, that they used to be growers. Him and his family were growers for a really long time. And I had seen about this, in the documentaries in Humboldt and Northern California, battles on the, government weed situation. And so apparently that has been in other places, because there was other family farms that were, big suppliers. And so he was part of that. He said, once the government comes in, you can't, they out the money thing, you can't do it. And so they take all their control. And that's why, like, the weed that we were getting, like, if you went and bought it from some family farm, you're not going to be getting all these toxins and shit. That's the whole way the government gets a hold of it, is like, well, you have to be licensed. So now you have to be licensed. In order to have your licensing, is there restrictions. It's like, well, you have to use this kind of fertilizer. Well, you have to use this. Well, in order to have it sold, you got to do, that's all their shit to get their fucking shit in their stuff. Is it to just take over. And also the pricing, the jacking the pricing, the screwing people out of their businesses. There's like so much more going on. The whole thing of, like, even them putting people in prison over a plant. I mean, that is really I mean, that should have been something that outraged us back in the 70s when that shit was going down. Like, so many people being arrested and put in prison for, selling weed. I mean, back then it was like, a big old bag of weed for $10. Like, I knew people who went to jail for it. And so it's just so fucking corrupt, Why? Everything is about them trying to control us, and it's all about them trying to get money out of us. And, and this water thing that's being messed with, it's like, I don't even know if it's even good water anymore. I don't know if the government's coming and fucked with it. Something's weird, I don't know, I'm so motherfucking sick of this shit. Like, I can't believe how long this can go on and on and on. It's gotta be. I mean, we've got to be closing in. Like, I don't even remember if I said this yesterday. Maybe I learned it later on in the morning or something. But my one brother, not the one that has the fireman brothers, the fireman brother in LA, who has tried to move up his retirement. Now he's trying to get out of there quicker. And then my other brother, he's in Texas, the one with the cancer, which he's doing better. So I think his was like a health scare, which I feel like right now one of my daughters is having a health scare. And she's the one who has a lot of autoimmune. And I'm hoping that that is going to get her to learn her own power and her own healing herself. But none of these things, where anything is leading to. Everybody's just in their lessons right now. And, it's intense shit happening. But my brother, oh yeah, so him and my mom have been having words or something over memory of certain situations. So they are kind of in a battle together. So not talking, but then when they talk, they start arguing. But so he sent her a picture out of the blue of his best friend with Trump and standing there all happy, hugging him. And so he said to my mom, well, I know you like him, so I thought I would send you this picture. I knew you would like it. And so that to me was kind of like throwing a bone, like, maybe I was wrong, I don't know, and not saying, I'm wrong. And then he also ended the conversation with, Kamala Harris is a real POS. So, that, it's a change of attitude. Because anybody who hated Trump, even if their friends like him, but see their friends can get them to see something different. Like, their friends sitting there talking about, what that guy did and how much things were better, then that can override your propaganda machine of information. So you could see things differently. There's like, when somebody says something like your mom, like me trying to tell my kids throughout this stuff, is that they have put up a wall, a barrier. And that's why I think this wall, this barrier, is a part of what they're here to heal. And, I think they're from all different lives. I don't think it's just one. It worked out well to be born to me and then have me fail you in somehow so you could put these walls up. But it's these walls that I think that the people are there to kind of break down because of the, like my brother refusing to see the, Trump could be a good guy because my mom, she's a crazy Christian. Well, why would I listen to her? She's all Republican, it's just weird. Like, some of the stuff, when you even go back to it, it's like, okay, so what does that mean? She's a Republican and she's a Christian, so I'm not going to like any politician she likes. It's like, because right away we put up walls immediately. And, like when I was on board with the kids politically, it was so crazy, is when they saw the change, is when I started saying in 2016 that he was going to win. And everybody acted like it was because I wanted him to win. It was because I was like, no, I can see it. I can see it coming. Like, how can you not see it? It's all around you. Like, it was so crystal clear to me. And, they were all getting so mad. But right away, they already, I think, started having an attitude towards me about it. And I was saying, look, I'm not trying to say it's a good thing. I'm saying the world's got to blow up. That's why he's going in. He's going to be like, how can you not see what's going on? The world's got to blow up. And, but then it was in 2020 when I started saying, when I started paying attention to what he was talking about. And you had to pay attention. There was no way you could see the news was lying if you weren't paying attention. So there was a lot of people who still couldn't see. And because there was, I had time on my hands. And I wasn't living in fear. I was just trying to figure out, like, what the fuck are they lying about this for? Like, are these doctors who are running this world, they're really this stupid? Like, it really was blowing my mind. So I knew there was something going on. I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart. So I knew something was up. And, luckily for me, it just kept unfolding so I could see. But when I started telling people, that is when it started being, anti against me or something. Like I was some sort of turncoat or something. So nobody was going to listen to anything I said. And that is when I started seeing biases. And throughout this thing is when I started realizing this is about releasing your biases. This is about you getting, to understand yourself. And so that's why I think it has something to do with like people who have blocked us out, like put up walls because of something that we see or something that we look at. It's just the same as like you don't want to go too much and just see through somebody's eyes because that is out of balance. That's toxic. But to also just diminish, to disregard, to completely, annihilate somebody else's vision because of something that you think is based on what you believe. You believe Trump's a bad person based on your own stuff, which is all being so misled. But the people who don't, then you automatically think like something's wrong with them. And so it's your biases. Like all these things are to bring up people's biases so that they can see them for themselves and they can find out, what they're holding on to or whatever. But that is what I keep feeling like that is going to be a big part of, my kids or anyone's kids. I think a lot of people like that role played a significant thing in that kind of element of, either doing things because, pleasing them, like go and do this, even though I didn't want to. And then just to please them, like there's a lot of that. There's a lot of people who are going to go at all levels of that. People who will be sick and hold it against their family members. Like there's going to be all levels. But it isn't anything about them. It's about the person. They need to see why. Why did I go against my own beliefs? What were my beliefs? Why did I go against me? Why did I do something to please somebody else? That's what they're here to learn. That's what they're here to find, to define themselves. That's the important part. That's the growth. And so I think, the people who have, I'm not going to even acknowledge. I don't care what you say about these things. You're just talking crazy and I don't trust you. And then, then they're going to have to see. So then they're going to have to see like, why was I blocking out? What was my thing? Why was I so against anything she said? And it can be a lot of different things. It's, and some of the stuff is from past lives. Like you don't even know, like you were two soldiers together and you led them into a battle that got them killed and they held it against you. And, there's so many, it's so variable, but it's the energy cleanup. It isn't like the scenario. The scenarios can play out in a lot of different ways, but it is a certain energy that is healed or corrected or whatever. So it is not necessarily, one thing. Like people think the way this scenario plays out has the significance, but it's the after effect. It's what it accomplishes. That is the important part. And so is I just think there's going to be a lot of that, and it is going to be where you kind of see, like for instance with my 4 kids, each of them have their own biases. It isn't like I didn't go in and create these biases for them. They created these biases. They carry them in their DNA. They carry them as a part of their shell, a part of their being. That is, something they take with them through life to life. And so it is their opportunity to have these brought up so that they can see them more clearly. But all of them would have their own, and it can be from different lives. Some of them could have things that are from this one, but there is more to it. It isn't like you didn't just meet these people. Like that is very much an illusion where people think, oh, I just met these people. I just got born here. I just met them all. No, like these people at a very deep level. Like I said, anybody who's in your orbit, your closest orbit that you're interacting with, that is, you think about the nucleus, and you think about the energy permeating out, that's in the thicker part of it. And the part that is your orbit is the closest. Those souls are close to you. So you've been in bunches of lives with them, not just one. It isn't like you just loved one. To me, like the concept of reincarnation for people is very limiting. Like, is to me, it is like, just think about like at night when you go to sleep, how many dreams you can have. Like, life after life after life after life, and it is also being in this life, in this game, you can still go in and have you go in and dream and still have other interactions. So there's like always so much more going on. Like so much of how we try and perceive is so limiting on, it's beyond limiting. Like it is minimizes the mere existence of everything, because it is so much more and so much more complex than how we are, able to look at it, to see, because of just like situations, just like, the show with the guy, the awful husband who just cheats and cheats and cheats, and, not knowing what the other lives are, what is it, like he could be showing, like this could be something that already happened to him, so he's showing these other people, like they screwed him over, so now he's screwing them over. Like it's so much more complex to go full circle. To me, I really think if you're trying to understand stuff about life and living, I swear studying about reincarnation is really valid. It's valuable. It is like your being, it is your soul. So understanding about your soul's journey, because this moment in time is very insignificant. It is just that. It's like, you go through your life and think about how many movies have you ever seen in your life? How many movies, they impacted you at the time, but then you don't really think anything else about them. And then you have other movies like, I wish I could see that movie again for the first time. It was just so great, And so just that whole thing, if you think about the movies of just being lives, You know, like how many lives, look how many movies you were able to see in this much time. So imagine how many lives you can live in infinity. So to think like everything that happens here is so important, matters so much, is giving it too much weight. It's out of balance. It is everything to me is like to be like rational, to kind of go into a like a logical sense of space or something, to see how things are bigger, you know. And to me, that is kind of like being in the observation, being able to sit back and to not be so just caught up. You know, another thing too with the train derailment yesterday, like the footage is so fucking fake looking. Like all these cars are just laying around. Like it doesn't look right at all. And that just shows like they can do anything they want. They could say that they're going to blow up something. They could do smoke. They could do the whole thing, and none of it be real. None of it. Every single thing can be completely made up. And what was that? Because I was seeing something, and I was like, that could totally be made up. Something that's going on right now, I think. Maybe it is the train thing. God, my throat is so itchy right now. It's really, really itchy. It's so weird. I was trying to think because I saw a couple of other videos. I didn't see very many. I saw the Tim Ballard one. I saw the truck starting the highway on fire. I saw, oh yeah, the horse one. And, man, it's just, I don't know. I'm just really burnt out and sick of this whole fucking thing. I'm just, ugh. I think each Monday, when something really big doesn't happen, it's just like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? Are we going to go through this whole fucking week of just nonsense and bullshit? Is anything going to fucking happen? Like, God damn, something has got to go down. Something big. Like, it is weird how they drag this out. Like, seriously, really is kind of just weird. Like, it's one thing to drag it out to get people to wake up, but this is like, I mean, at this point, we're just dragging bones around. This is what it feels like to me. It's like it just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's like mental. Like, why don't you just go in and take them all down? Like, just the whole thing with the cocaine and stuff. And let's make a big thing about it. And let's make a big, we'll talk about it. And then all of a sudden, the outcome's going to be, well, we don't know what to do about it, so we're just going to quit talking about it. It's like something's got to lead to something. You know, Kamala's out here, like everybody's outraged that she's saying that we need to reduce the population and buy electric cars. And everybody's just so disgusted. Well, then let's fucking take her down. Let's take these people out. Like there's, I guess in England, over the weekend, a whole bunch of people sent in their documents saying that they're no longer going to be, they don't comply. Like, you know, I'll write an email, a letter or something. It's like, how much of this shit do we got to do? I've like gone on and said it. Like, I've gone on and said it I think I said it on goddamn Twitter. That's how long ago I said it. I know I've said it on here. I'm sure I've said it on TikTok. I don't comply. I don't want, anything to do with these people. And, whatever I have to lose in order to not participate in their game, I'm willing to do it. Because I know it will be better. I know whatever we lose is going to be, something that was better to lose. not something that we need to hold on to. Holding on to it is the burden. So, you know, however it's going to go, I really don't care. I swear to God. Like, they could have fucking come in here and burned down the goddamn forest last night. I mean, finally, let's do something. Let's get the fucking show on the road. Like, crash these motherfucking banks so we can, you know, move forward. My one daughter, they had some other family members who were splitting up, so they weren't going to stay in their house. So my daughter was hoping that they would get an opportunity to rent this house from them. And I guess now the word is that they're going to be foreclosed on. So I told my daughter, I sent her a message this morning. I said, this foreclosure thing is way up in the air right now. There's a judge has already gone. I think that they are having problems doing that because of the judicial is going against them. And so I think it's going to be drug out. But also, you could move in there as squatters and you have rights. Like, they cannot make you go out. Look up squatters' rights. You just go in. Just move in. And, you know, like I'm going to fight for homesteading rights. If they start trying to fucking take my house away from me, is what I'm going to fight is homesteading because of all the improvements. You can't take something away from me that I've done all this work on, you know. So that is, you know, going to be my platform to stand on. But, you know, there's also places you can go in and squat. All these different people who are out there being homeless who are like, why are you following their rules? Just fucking break into an empty house. There's empty houses everywhere and start squatting. Start living there. You know, this whole thing of them being in control of us and how we live and stuff, and then put this pressure on us like we're not good people. We're not good people if we want to survive. If we're out there trying to survive, that makes us bad people. Like, these people are, you know, they are just, they're so nasty, you know, towards us. How they just see us as being like having no value, and how they've just taught people to, they have no value, and people have accepted it, you know. People believe they have no value, and people have got to see, like, this is some bullshit, and we don't comply. I'm not going to be governed by these people. I mean, I play out this fantasy, like, on my drives of the cops trying to arrest me. I just keep driving. I'm calling live. I'm going live on the, you know, just doing every drama thing to, you know, and who knows, you know. I mean, what they would do with my dog, that's what gets me. You know, I don't want to leave Stella anywhere. I also don't trust these people. I'm just, you know, just, I don't know, just have them shoot me. I don't give a fuck. Just keep driving and just shoot people over a fucking traffic violation. They probably will. That's the way things are going to go. Things are going to get more and more crazy, more and more outrageous. What was it? This was a job. Oh, yeah, human resources. That was, I just saw Tucker talking. Somebody was interviewing him, and he's just out there just saying all sorts of stuff now. So I think he's, you know, he's definitely on the right side, I think, of what's going on. But, you know, he could have got put on the right side because he did some bad stuff, and, you know, it's his penance. I don't know. So, but he was talking about, the question was something about all of these people at Fox that were being fired, all his producers now, because they had worked with him. So they were just firing them all. So what do you think about that? And so he started talking about the HR and human resources. Now, it used to be personnel, you know, you just went in, you filled out an application. It was just the personnel department. And then it became human resources. But as it became human resources, it was like it was taking away rights from us and putting in more and more corporate control, which is so true. And what he was saying about these people who work in HR, he said, you are like soulless. You're going against your own consciousness. You're going to have to start making better choices, like go with your, you like your moral compass. You got to see through and see as a job, that I would have not even thought about, like, of how these people follow so much corruption. The HR departments and all these different corporations and these entities and these businesses, and then they hire a whole department, and these people go against our rights all the time. And that they are just like, well, they follow orders, they're doing what they're told. And they a lot of times are convinced through some sort of MK Ultra or something, I think, some sort of way. Man, my stomach just keeps growling and growling. Some sort of way of to like get them to see things in a certain way, to get them to. Is it my stomach growling, or is it the parasites? Like, it's motherfucking parasites are beast. Like, I'm trying to get out of me. I'm gonna take another charcoal pill. Like, I'm just gonna just keep overdoing it. I'm so paranoid about the fucking things inside of me. Something starts crawling. I've had this happen so many times over the last few days. I've something crawling around in here, and then all of a sudden I just start sneezing, feeling something crawling in my eyelashes still, in my ear. This is when it's driving me crazy, the ear thing. It's like, oh God, I'm so sick of this shit. I'm sick of feeling like I've got fucking bugs crawling all over me. And they're motherfucking microscopic neobot bugs that are controlled by frequency. So I think we can't see them, but I think that we can feel them crawling all over us. Whatever the fuck, I don't know. There's just too much weird shit. And I could sit here and talk about weird shit going on where I'm at, and it can be totally different where somebody else is at. So then it makes me sound like I'm completely crazy. But then, and it could be somebody, even a neighbor. You can talk about it with them, and they'll be like, they don't know what they're talking about because they're focused on something else, and they're not even having any awareness of things crawling on them. They just think they have allergies and itchy skin or something. It all has to do with what you pay attention to, where your awareness is. To me, it's like I want to get my awareness off the parasites, and then go on to something, and there's right away something about parasites. It's like, oh my God, parasites. And then just thinking about like how big some of them are. Like, are they huge? Like, I've had a lot of colonoscopies. Like, what, when they see them, you've got huge worms inside of you when they see them. Like, or the worms just burrow in and hide. Like, or they just, they just don't tell us because I saw, I've seen a bunch of these. But this man and woman took their infant to the doctor because their infant had had a temperature for a couple days and wasn't feeling good. So they went in to check and see, and the doctor said, well, it could be anything. You need to go to the ER and go get labs and x-rays and all this shit. And you go into the ER. It's so stupid. It's probably fucking ear infection or goddamn teething. New parents, they don't know. So, and then you send them to ER, and then they start doing all this, x-rays and, like, does your baby really need that? And, catheterize them and all this stuff. Like, it's all extreme. And, anyways, these people decided that they didn't want to go, and they didn't appreciate this woman's, not doing more or checking more, just sending them away. And so they left and went home. And 3 hours later, CPS showed up at their door. The woman turned in a report on them and said that they weren't taking care of their baby. And so, and they can't get out of it. They can't do anything about it. The CPS said once it's reported by a doctor, it's set. And so he's trying to get a lawyer. He wants this woman's medical license. But this is the shit that is going to keep going on and going on. And just like, that doctor is following orders, just like the HR people, all of the people, the doctors, the cops, politicians, everybody who's out there is just following orders. They, they're not making decisions for themselves. They're just doing what they're told. And, right now is a big thing, take away kids. Well, it's like stick them on orphan trains, I guess. So take away as many of them as they can from people. And it's so crazy. In some states, if you won't transition your child, they'll take it. If in some states you do transition your child, they'll take it. Like, the stuff is so nonsense. And people just keep fighting, like in the state where they're going to take them. If you don't transition, you got the people who are fighting against that. And the other one, you got the people fighting against the other thing. It's like, well, as soon as we all come together and just fight for having our own rights to make our own decisions, but they stay divided in their groups. Because, well, you should be able to transition your child. Well, no, you shouldn't be able to transition your child. So let's just all argue about that. Instead of all coming together and saying, like, these people have no rights to tell us anything. They're coming up with their own rules. And then we're sitting here trying to figure out why they can't do what they want to do. And as soon as we all come together and just stand up for ourselves and say, no, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you want to do. It doesn't matter. We don't need to make any excuses. We don't need to do shit. We just need to say, no, we don't comply. We do not need to be governed. We won't be governed by a fucking bunch of goddamn perverts, too. It's like, fuck off with your shit. You fucking guys already got yourself in your own fucking problems. You shouldn't have been damn perverts and gotten yourself into blackmail situations. Then you wouldn't have to be a sellout motherfucker. Now you got yourself in it. It's not our problem. Fuck off with your shit. And we don't need to be governed. And I've seen other people now, and I don't know, what their thing is, but other people who are spiritual, who are saying that they're seeing like the same things as me. We're not gonna be governed like that. It's gonna be small. It's gonna be more towns governing themselves, more cities. It isn't even gonna be like big cities. Like, people are going to go more towards like-minded, more towards what it is they want from life. And it's like nature is naturally going to pull you towards, it's a magnetic force. And right now, like the chaos, it's not pulling us into that yet. We're still in this chaos. And so then once it switches, it's like there's going to be this abrupt turning point. In the abrupt turning point, that is when it's going to start pulling people towards where they're supposed to be, I think. Where it is, you're going to find your people, find your tribe, find where you're going to start rebuilding your life. Right now it's just a lot of letting go of what life was and getting prepared, and a lot of the preparation is through energy, through you seeing, and which timeline are you on? Are you on this timeline of learning your value, or are you on a timeline where you know your value and you can have what you want? If you want a nice house, manifest it, keep seeing yourself in a nice house. You don't have to sit there and think like, well, I need $1 million and then I can buy the house I want. No, you don't need to do any of that. Just keep seeing yourself in a nice house. Keep seeing yourself on a nice piece of property. Keep seeing yourself with the animals you want, or, whatever it is you want from your future. Keep seeing that. Bypass this nonsense of like, well, I got to manifest $1 million. Once I manifest $1 million, then I will do this. And no, that's the working in the 3D. That's you trying to manipulate the 3D. That is a different thing. When you go into this working with the universe, it is a lot more. It's, when you're insecure, when you don't think you deserve, you will see yourself as like, well, I've got to be poor. I've got to be struggling. That's who I am. That's what I am. I can never get ahead. My whole family's been poor. We'll always be poor. Because that is where you are giving yourself those that information. So is to me, lessons are coming to help you learn your value. Or once you get through those lessons and you get to that point of like, I deserve what I want. I deserve happy relationships. I deserve a safe place to live. I deserve, it's when you start putting your energy towards that, what you deserve in your heart, and you just put that energy out there, and you can see, imagine, picture the kind of house you want. Picture, what it is you want for your future. Picture it in your head. Or if you don't have good visual in your head, do a vision board so that you have a visual. Or, find a movie that it assimilates what you want and watch the movie, and keep seeing yourself as that character. There's different ways to approach it. It is versatile. It's variable. It's your creation. But as you keep seeing it, you keep seeing that house that way you want it. And then when you see the right place, you're going to know it. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, that's the place. That's the place I've been seeing in my head. That's where I'm going. And you still will have practicing in there, and the universe can throw you some wrenches, to where you're like, do I deserve it? Can I have what I want? Is this all a dream? Like, there's a lot of processing to go through, and a lot of keep reminding yourself, like, no, I do deserve this. I'm creating the world I want, and I deserve to have a beautiful home, that I find peace, and I have my friends come, and whatever, all your stuff. That is how you want to see it. You want to keep imagining what you want for your life, and not out of the fear, not out of what you think you don't deserve. Don't put it in a monetary value. Don't put it into any monetary terms. That's the mistake. And that is where you see so many of these, spiritual people in their 3D trap. They think that they're all spiritual, when it's really, you're just trying to manipulate the 3D. You're trying to, live a 3D life and manipulate energy. And, you can manipulate energy, but also, manipulating energy is not being in harmony with it. That's putting things out of balance. And so that is, there's repercussions of putting things out of balance. And, people I don't really see, like, your soul is way advanced. Your soul is advanced, like, it understands balance. It understands choices and the things that it can look at and see and do. It has, there's a follow through, just like me doing this. Like, I'm very aware that, I can mislead people. And then I'm putting something out of balance then. And then it falls back on me, so... yeah, it's funny because, it's not just me. It's all of them. It's all of them telling me all this stuff. So, it's going to fall back on all of them, too. It's not going to just be me. So, because I feel like I'm part of a group and not just me. It's not just me who comes up with this shit. Like, I don't know all this stuff. It comes from, the great consciousness outside of us, the great unknown. I just listen. I'm just weird enough that I acknowledge and listen to, I've just always known that this world is different than what people see it as. That's the only thing I can think of, But I know there's a lot of us. It's not like I'm the only one, And to me, it is different approaches. It's different philosophies or something. Because there's no spirit that could be here, who could be doing all this, who is like, they just, last week, they were unconscious energy, No, you've been going at this a long time, And if you weren't you know, back in Atlantis and in these other times that were significant on here. There's a lot of different times. Then you were somewhere else. You know, you were in other planets. You were in other spaces. You were in other existences because you are energy or conscious energy. You know, you didn't just become conscious in this life. This isn't a new thing. That was a weird too. That was like all of a sudden my throat hit something. It couldn't go past it. That was weird. I really wonder how much interference is all of these energies that are really trying to just interfere. You know, and it can do stuff like that. I don't know how it's weird how it can just all of a sudden hit into your throat. And I've heard other people say this. It's not just me. I've just experienced now and felt it. It's like it is so strange when you can just be talking and something just hits into your throat or stabs in, or it's weird. But our vision is under attack. Our speaking our truth, our throat chakra is under attack. Our heart space, our heart chakra, the whole fucking system, the whole chakra system is under attack. You know, they want to keep us in the lower chakra. They want to keep us down in our root, in a place where we're easily controlled, and is a fearful place, and it is a reactive place. It's a place where people don't use their higher mind. They don't think for themselves. They don't think things through. They're easily manipulated, easily controlled, and misdirected. So, you know, that's where they want to keep us. But it is you know, and to me, everything starts in the lower chakras, because that's where you hold your pain and trauma. That's where you're going to find the demons. You know, that's where you start with your releasing. And it is, you know, and it's crazy how much of it, you know, like a sex abuse and stuff, and how it's in that root chakra area, and how many women and men have sexual dysfunction, and, you know, learning to release that stuff, to look at it deeper, to acknowledge, you know, why do you have sexual dysfunction? Why do you have, you know, these things? Because when you start there and you start releasing, that's like getting the movement going. You know, start letting go of things and facing things, you know. And, you know, a part of your thing could be facing your own deviant behavior at a young age. And that eats you up inside. You feel like you were really horrible and rotten and disgusting, and, you know, and it's a hard thing for you to get over. You know, maybe you did something to another child when you were a child, and it eats you up, and you feel disgusting, and you feel like you're a horrible person. And that is stuff where you gotta forgive yourself, and you gotta see it. Like, this stuff is so much bigger than this life. These things you're playing out, there's more to the story. You're only getting a snippet of the story, and then you're judging it, and you're judging yourself. And so don't, you know, no matter how, you know, criminal or how deviant or how immoral the things you've done are, it isn't make you a bad person. You know, it makes you a normal person. You have good and bad in you, and you're trying to figure out, you know, you gotta feel a little of the bad. You gotta get a little taste. How would you know? How would you recognize if you didn't have a little bit of it? So you've got to, you know, see. You got to have a little bit of badness. You know, just like when I was really little, and I still went and put the soap in my brother's water, even when they were telling me, don't do it, you're going to get in trouble. And I was still like, fuck him and his fucking, get up and go get his own water if he wants water. Why do I have to get it? I don't even know the anger I must have had at 3 years old of already, you know, having to take care of my younger siblings. You know, there's an extra pressure put on to a child who is born to a child. And then, you know, the oldest child always has more pressure. But there's definitely an added pressure when your parent is also a child, you know. So it was a lot of, to me, where I could see things It's like I could see things that I felt like my mom or my dad couldn't see, you know. So it's like I'm maturing. And it's funny too, because I have a granddaughter who's the oldest child, and she was born to one of my daughters who was a teenage mom. And I had said to her, because when she started having problems with her mom, like in her teenage years, and I said, there will be a period of time where you're going to feel like you've bypassed them in maturity, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't, like, it isn't even something that you should look at your parents as like, well, see, they're so stupid, I'm better than them. That is, like, that's not an energy that you're going to want to face the other side of. There's just a lot of shit that will go on to teach you, because it's about learning compassion and not judging these other people, having compassion for them. And so, you know, to think you're better than them because you've passed them by is, to me, a more healthier approach is the recognition, you know, like, okay, well, you know, I'm not going to argue with them about this. They're just still immature. They didn't get, they were busy trying to raise me and change my diapers. They didn't have a lot of time, you know, to grow up. So they're, you know, kind of stunted. You know, in some cases, they may not start maturing until they're in their 30s or 40s, because they've, you know, they've got a job to do. They got to raise their kids. And so they don't have time to work on themselves. And, you know, that's kind of like the parental trap that we've found ourselves in, where we just are becoming more and more dysfunctional, raising kids who are struggling more and more and more. You know, generations of struggle is happening. And, you know, that's where we got to recognize and see and start taking control. In the first place to take control is of yourself, to see, like, oh, this is the overall problem. How do we fix it? Is each of us go in and start trying to manage ourselves, try and fix ourselves, try and figure out, like, what can we do better? How can we make the world a better place? And, you know, sometimes is you maturing, and then just the not fighting with your parents, showing them there's other ways to manage things. There's other ways to handle things. We don't have to just yell and scream at each other because we're mad and we don't know what to do, you know, and we can set boundaries for ourselves, and we can say, hey, let's talk about this when we can keep our composure. We're not working anything out at this point. If we're just screaming and calling each other names, we're just hurting each other's feelings, and there's no reason for that. So it is, you know, hopefully the ones who are maturing can bring that energy, but, you know, they're oftentimes their biggest triggers will bring them back to that immature state of mind. And but that is more of the mastery, more of the recognition, the realization, the authentic wanting better for yourself, not just in words, not just saying it, not just you can say, oh, that person's bad, you know, oh, poor me, you know, I've been a victim. It is very much more empowering to claim your story, to claim all parts of your story, you know, claim your mistakes, claim the stupid shit you've done. And, you know, it may be things that you're very humiliating and you don't want to, you don't have to. You know, those are kind of like, even you know, you may find purpose in a ceremony, writing your shame down, and then doing a forgiveness ceremony for yourself, and then burning it, you know, and letting it go. And, you know, it is you having to find your own, your own, your own path to yourself, your own walk to your own dignity, you know, to feeling good about yourself, to not hold on to something you did when you were 10 years old, you know. You got to let go of some of that stuff and move forward. And, you know, forgive the child that you were, forgive the young adult that you were, you know, forgive people who have also harmed you, and recognize, like, you know, well, I have also harmed. So how can I just hold all this hate towards this person? They probably feel the same way as me. They probably feel shame. They probably feel guilt. They probably feel humiliation. So me sending more hate towards them, is that productive? Is that the kind of world we want? Do we all want to just sit back in our caves and hide and, throw darts at each other and call each other names for eternity. I mean, that's not a world that will continue. It won't, it's impossible. The whole point of the continuing is that there's people out there like me who see hope, who see potential, who see like we made mistakes, we can do better. There's just so much more better we can do. And, the recognition of like, it's not just a world full of bad people. It's a world full of people who are damaged, a world full of people who are harmed, who don't see themselves, who don't see the truth. So, to sit there and say it's like hopeless and there's no point and everybody's rotten and stuff. No, everybody is misled, misguided. And there's so much hope. There's so much potential. There's so much, for a good future. But it is us taking control, like I've said, this dependency on this, just there's a dependency just on the whole, oh, I'm going to manipulate or manifest $1 million. That's a dependency on that matrix existence, It's outside of you. You're trying to be a part of something that isn't really you. And then you have to change yourself to become a part of it. When you can go the other direction and, find out what fulfills you, how to become your most completed self, how to, discover you, and not in this concept of like, the rules. There's these rules. Oh, you got to get married at this age. You got to go to this church and you got to go every weekend. You got to do this. And all of these rules that we all, well, I'm going to follow that rule. And that person, they don't follow it. So they're just rotten. It's the people like me, the people who follow this rule, we're the good ones. Those other people. And it's like, you don't understand that other person. You don't understand why they're following the rules they follow. It is the completion is us to get to the point of just respecting everybody else's rules. It's like, yeah, I don't have to go and do what you think, but I can respect your rules. I can respect how you feel, and, we all have our own rules. We all have our own moral compass, our own thing of where we decide what's right and wrong for us. We just got to get out of this mindset that we're figuring out what's right and wrong for everybody else. The only person you're figuring out for is you. It is what you decide. And so, and living by your own rules, But also, you can also be, fluctuate. You don't have to. To me, to get yourself stuck in some stringent rule of it only can be this way is limitation. You got to be open to change, open to, well, if this happened, this other thing could happen. If this happened, things could go in a very different direction. So don't just hold yourself in like, well, nothing's going to happen. It's always going to go this way, because it's unlikely it's only going to go this way. There's a lot of different things that can happen. And so it is, and even when other things, all these things are happening, and staying true to your belief of yourself, and this energy is going to pull people towards, these groups, these like-minded groups where homes and communities and stuff will start being built, and their rules, will be their rules. Maybe they'll all decide like they want everybody in their houses at dark. They don't want people outside at dark, and that's that town, and it's what everybody does there. I mean, is going to be things that are going to be different kind of rules. Like, it isn't going to just be like laws. It's going to be kind of like people would be pressured more. Like, well, if you don't like how it is here, you don't have to stay, so you can go. So it's more of a pressure than a law. Like, it's not going to be like laws and you're going to go to jail. We're going to put you in prison. You know, I think that there's going to be a lot more of like, you know, there's not going to be murder and thieving and stuff like that, because, you know, people are going to feel differently. They're not going to be in that kind of energy. But there's still going to be, you know, a transformation, kind of a growth in the establishment of communities by what's acceptable and what's not acceptable by the group. And so, you know, like there's a thing right now that happened, where is that? Oklahoma. And the guy looks kind of like Middle Eastern, I would guess. I don't know, maybe Pakistan or something. And we don't know all the rules in all these different places. But so he's got himself a 12-year-old girlfriend, and she was in labor, took her to the hospital so she could have her baby. And, you know, he's all excited. You know, he's bragging to everybody. And the cops come, and it's 16 is, you can't do that. And so now they've got the cop I still talking about says it's a very complex situation, because it is like, you know, the merging of different cultures, like our rules, like these weird things are going to keep coming up. Like when somebody doesn't think they're doing anything wrong, like we don't know, like was this child sold to him because the parents died and they needed someone to raise them, and in their culture that, you know, that is, then you're married. I mean, we got that in the fucking Utah, in the LDS. We got that in some Amish places. Like, this stuff, you know, is just to come to the surface so we can see. But it's going to be stuff like that, like in communities where it's like, no, you know, we don't, children get to be children until they decide not to be children anymore. Parent or adults who try and influence children to not be children won't be accepted. I mean, there'll be a lot of communities where that is not going to be accepted. So, because that's so much of what, you know, people are talking about right now, and so much of what people see, and so much of what people don't want to see. We want kids to get to be kids. We don't want kids to be abused. We don't want to have a world full of abused fucking kids. We got enough of that. We got fucking adults. We got grown-ass fucking old people who are still abused children. Like, we've got to make big changes. And, you know, this is shit we got to see. Like, it's really kind of sad. You know, this guy's all excited. He's going in to have his baby. And then it all falls down. It all gets taken away from him. I think he even got arrested. So it's just, reality isn't a set thing, you know. That's something that I think a big thing of our learning is, you know, reality is very versatile, and it really has to do with what each soul is there to learn. And, you know, and us coming together and accepting that, and accepting everyone's lessons and stuff, is unity consciousness. It's the thing that we're moving towards. And, you know, I don't know every fucking thing. Like, some of this stuff it's weird, you know, like, because I know we shouldn't be judging others, but then we also need to see, like, that's not okay. This isn't okay. But then who's the ultimate decider of what's okay and what's not okay? That's why I think it's going to go into more of just like-minded groups where people are going to be like, well, we all agree on this. And who knows? Like, there's no way. No, we're not going to have like little townships of like children who are being, the energy won't be there for that. There just won't be the energy for it. It's that energy is being purged out. It's going to go into such a more lighter, happier time where we're not having to stress out about stuff like that. But we got to go through this period of time of purging it. And that is the hard time That's the time, because I feel compassion for this guy. I don't even know him. I don't know his story, but he wasn't trying to hide anything. He wasn't feeling shame. He wasn't feeling he was doing anything wrong. I mean, he's trying to take care of this girl and his girlfriend, 12. Like, to me, it's like, is something wrong with you? Like, how is that like a partner? Like, that is, but I mean, how can I judge? I mean, there's some men who just want to, like, that is their thing. It's just to be over somebody, take care of them, you know, not see them as, not be with an equal. You know, they're not, you know, I don't know. I just don't know. There's just a lot of sad stuff. A lot of, you know, maybe that guy's got to learn. Like, a child should get to grow up. A child shouldn't be having a child. A child should get to have a life and discover who they are. Like, that to me is what life is about. Life is about you getting to be birthed and discover. It's an adventure. It's a learning adventure, but it's not as hard of lessons when you have perspective. So, I don't know. There's a lot of this, you know, a lot to grow through, to grow into spiritual beings, to see and understand, because it is a big thing about not being judgmental, not being judged. That is, you know, judging is a part of religion and stuff. That's not higher mind. That's not higher consciousness. And I think you can learn about that too in reincarnation books. You know, there's a whole thing about learning, and it's not about judging, and it's not about judging each other. And you know, there's a respect to learning, but then also, you know, we're going into this time of protecting certain people so that they are not being overshadowed by other people who are dominators or dominating. So I don't know, you know, just gonna have to keep watching this slowly play out. Slowly. Well, I saw another weird ass thing too. Oh yeah, that girl, she showed back up, the one who went missing, who was screaming on the highway when she found that baby, and then she went missing, and who knows what happened. I mean, fuck. I mean, this man could be taken in a spaceship. They could be MK Ultra. Like, anything could happen at this point, I swear to God. And they could come back and be like, I don't have any idea where I was. Last thing I remember, I was driving on the freeway. Like, people are getting offended because she's not coming out and saying, but maybe she's got nothing to say. Maybe she's confused. Or maybe it was all a game. Maybe it was all a psyop. Like, who knows? That's why, you know, it's important to not get too caught up in all of the BS that's going on, because it's just a lot of BS, a lot of bullshit, a lot of distractions. And the main thing that we want to go down is the bank crash and the significant players in the politics, the significant ones to be arrested. You know, there's arrests going on, but, you know, I want to see Kamala, I want to see Joe, I want to see these people go down. Like, let's start getting there. Like, get these banks going, and, you know, then everything is going to feel so much better. Then it won't be it's going to be like a whole new world, a whole new day. When the day the bank goes down, I mean, it's already gone down in other places, but the day that goes down here, where we're actually told the dollar's done, there's no more dollar, which is bizarro world, because now we're deep in the July. We're supposed to be deep in Fed now. Where is it? So, I don't know. Hopefully, I mean, we still have this big old date of the 28th. I don't even fucking know anymore with these goddamn dates. There's always some fucking astrology date or something. We just passed this 7/17. But anyways, a lot of the astrology shit has to do with money and power and changing and stuff. So just keep our fingers crossed each day. Hopefully this is not another drag out, slow drag. Hopefully some shit goes down this week. Like, come on. So anyways, we'll just see how it goes. Just do a lot of nothing, just sit around here waiting for something to happen. seriously, like, there's like, fuck. Like, I'd like to just get a boat and just get on my boat, and just go over, land in Costa Rica, get off, put up a tent, just start living on the beach and picking fruit out of trees or something. Like, I swear to God, that would be a perfectly fine way to live. Live out my days like that. Well, there's not going to be any living out days anymore because we're going to have those med beds. And nobody's going to be dying anymore. And there's still this fucking aging fucking filter. It's got these young people so up that they're fucking falling apart. And so many of them, they do them and they look horrible. They look like they've aged, they look horrible. Especially this one girl. She's really, really pretty. She looks like, what is that lady's name? Morgan or something? She's this actress who's really pretty. She looks like her. And then she did the age thing, and the age thing, she looks horrendous. Like, she really did not age well. And so she's very upset. She's like, how are all these other people getting these aging pretty? I'm like, what the hell happened to me? And that's the thing too, is it all has to do with your lessons. It all has to do with your lessons, and a lot of people, though, they are thinking like this is what they're going to look like here in about 10 years or something. These are like what you would look like when you're like 100. Like, this is a long ways down. Like, I'm in my 60s. Like, you're not going to look like that. And like, I feel like my mom, who's about to turn 80, she's looking old. She's beginning to look old. So I think, like, when you get to be, like, in your late 70s, in your 80s, in your, up there is where you start, like, looking old. Like, but there'd be young people, like my grandkids, they would think, oh, well, Grandma, you look old. You're old. But that, as an adults, as they're aging, we don't, to me, I don't look at people who are in their 60s or even 70s as being, like, old. It's just like, it's not that old. And the other aspect of it is it implanted that into your mind. So that is how you're going to age yourself. You're going to see yourself that way. And you can age yourself real quick. It all has to do with your attitude. These people who think like, oh, well, there's people who think 40 is old. So they can sit there and keep that picture in their head, and they can end up, looking that way when they're 45. Because that's what they put in their image, and then you create what you believe. It's all created inside of you. I think you can tell, as women age, the women who consider themselves to still be feminine and the women who, are past that, where they're just like, they don't see themselves that way anymore. Like, it's all in how you see yourself, and there's nothing wrong with how someone sees themselves. It's not like there's one certain way, we all have to do it that way. No, we learn from all the ways. Everything teaches us. So we need all of the ways. We don't need everybody to do the same thing. What are we learning then? Everybody's doing the same damn thing. Like, no, we need a whole bunch of different things. So, but yeah, you get that image in your head and you sit there and you think like, oh, 40's old, I'm getting so old, I'm going to be 40, I'm going to be so old. And you keep envisioning that, you'll turn your face into that. So, but you can't get those people to understand that. But it is kind of funny, but it's kind of mean funny. And that's one of those things where I find myself like laughing at something that is like, oh, is that really nice? Like, because for they know not what they do. But anyways, I just keep rambling. And I got a lot of nothing to do today. So I'm going to go do a lot of nothing. So have a good day. Let's just all keep our fingers crossed. Like, banks crash, please, please, please. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.